I almost didn't go. It was just a forest preserve, 30 minutes outside town. No cell service, no marked trails, and a guy I barely knew who kept insisting I'd love the view at dusk. I remember sitting in my car before I stepped out, watching him stand there waiting for me. He looked relieved, like he was afraid I wouldn't show up. I should have listened to that feeling because about 20 minutes later, standing in the middle of those woods, I realized something that made my stomach drop. He hadn't brought me there to show me the trail. He brought me there because he already knew I liked hiking alone, and he wanted to prove how closely he'd been watching. I didn't think of him as dangerous at first, just intense. We'd met through mutual friends. He was quiet, awkward, the kind of guy who stood too close when he talked but apologized for it. He remembered little details about me, my favorite coffee order, the fact that I liked hiking alone to clear my head. That should have been my first mistake. One night he messaged me, "Hey, there's a forest preserve just outside town. No one really goes there. You'd love it." He sent me a pin. It was about 30 minutes away, a place I'd never heard of. I told him I usually hiked alone. He replied almost instantly, "I know." That felt strange, but I brushed it off. I'd posted hiking photos before. It wasn't a secret. He kept insisting, said he'd found a hidden trail, a clearing that looked magical at dusk. He said he wanted to show me. Something about the way he wrote it felt rehearsed, but I agreed. That was my second mistake. The preserve was darker than I expected. There were no marked parking spots, just a gravel pull-off near a rusted gate. His car was already there when I arrived. He was standing outside it, waiting. He smiled when I pulled up. Too wide, too relieved. "Thought you might change your mind," he said. I laughed it off. I almost did. The trailhead wasn't marked. It was just a break in the trees. As soon as we stepped under the canopy, the air changed. Cooler, thicker, the kind of silence that presses on your ears. No birds, no wind, just our footsteps on dead leaves. He walked slightly behind me. I didn't notice at first, but every time I slowed down, he slowed down. Every time I turned, he stopped, like he was studying me. "You come out to places like this a lot?" he asked. "Sometimes." "Alone?" I hesitated. "Yeah," he nodded slowly. "That's brave." Something about the way he said brave didn't feel like a compliment. After about 15 minutes, I realized I didn't recognize the direction we were heading. The sun was dipping fast. The trees were so dense the light barely filtered through. "Are you sure this is the right way?" I asked. He stopped walking. "We're almost there." His voice had changed. Flatter, calm, too calm. We kept going. The trail narrowed until it barely existed. Branches scraped against my arms. Then we reached the clearing. It wasn't magical. It was wrong. In the center was a circle of stones. Old, blackened, like something had been burned there. I felt my stomach drop. "Is this it?" I asked. He stepped closer to me. "Yeah," he said softly. "I've been here before." There was something in his tone that made my skin crawl. Before I could respond, he said, "I brought someone else here once." The forest felt like it leaned in. I forced a laugh. "What do you mean?" He didn't smile this time. She didn't understand me either. My heart started pounding. "What happened?" I asked, even though I didn't want to know. He looked past me, not at me. "At some point," he said slowly, "you get tired of being ignored." A cold wave moved through my body. I took a small step back. He noticed. His eyes sharpened. "You're shaking," he said. "You don't have to be afraid." But he stepped closer and closer until I could smell his breath. "I know things about you," he whispered. "I know when you run. I know which trail you take by the river. I know where you park." My lungs stopped working. "You've been following me?" I asked. He tilted his head. "Watching," he corrected. "The way you'd say watching birds or animals." That's when I saw it. Behind him, near the tree line, something tied around a branch. A strip of fabric, pink. It took me a second to recognize it. It was mine, from a hoodie I'd lost weeks ago. He saw me looking. His smile came back. "I keep things," he said quietly, "to remember." My brain screamed run. I didn't think. I just shoved him as hard as I could and bolted. Branches whipped against my face. I couldn't see the trail. I couldn't see anything. I just ran. Behind me, I heard him. Not yelling, not chasing wildly. Just steady footsteps, following. He wasn't in a hurry, like he knew the woods better than I did. Like he knew I'd get tired first. I could hear him speaking, his voice drifting through the trees. "You always run this way. My chest burned. My legs felt heavy. The trees all looked the same. I had no idea where the parking lot was. Then my foot caught on a root, and I went down hard. The air slammed out of my lungs. For a second, everything went silent. Then, leaves crunching, slow, measured. I scrambled to my feet, adrenaline taking over, and spotted it through the trees. My car. I sprinted toward it. I didn't look back. I didn't want to see how close he was. I slammed into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and started the engine. As I reversed, I finally looked up. He was standing at the edge of the trees, not running, not angry, just watching. He raised one hand slowly, like he was saying goodbye. I went to the police the next day. They told me they'd look into it, but they couldn't find anything in that clearing. No stones, no burned circle, no fabric, nothing. They questioned him. He denied everything. Said we'd only walked a few minutes in before I panicked and left. They told me it was probably a misunderstanding. Maybe I'd gotten scared in the dark. Maybe I imagined some of it. I almost believed them. Until 3 weeks later, I was hiking again. A different preserve. Closer to town, busy. I stayed near other people. I felt stupid for letting it scare me out of something I loved. About halfway through the trail, I noticed something tied to a low branch near the path. A small strip of fabric, pink, and underneath it, carved into the bark, brave. I don't hike alone anymore, but sometimes when I close my eyes at night, I can still hear it. Not running, not chasing, just steady footsteps behind me, waiting for me to choose the woods again.